Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. So, a couple things today. Talk about a world situation that I find interesting. I'm going to talk about, as my son likes to say, first world problems versus other problems. And going to show you my walking around the homestead EDC, everyday carry. But first, I'm looking at this. Let's see if you can see this. Can you see the sun just peeking over that horizon? It's just coming up. It looks real bright to me, but I'm looking at the viewfinder screen. It doesn't look that bright. Here it comes. Here comes the sun. Da-na-na-na. Look at that, huh? You can see that, right? Nope. Doesn't look nearly as good. Oh well. Looks cool to me. Shema Israel Yahweh Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. All right. It's 20 degrees today. Something I've noticed. Back to, I gave the Gaza alert just yesterday, I think? Maybe the day before. Bottom line, it looks like Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, is in danger of being replaced. Snap elections to be called. Why? Israeli commandos were in Gaza. They got discovered. A fight started. Israel pulled back. I think they pulled back under air cover. Hamas got mad. They just give them a reason, right? They sent almost 500 rockets and bombs into Israel, which is more over that period of time than has ever been done before. And then Israel starts schwacking them back with jets, and they hit like 100 and something targets back. And then Hamas called a ceasefire. Ceasefire, ceasefire. And Israel agreed to it. Meaning the government of Israel agreed to it. The Israeli people did not agree to it. They're like, we are tired of living our lives in fear. We're tired of waiting for the siren to go off, and we've all got to go hunker down in our little rocket shelters. And hide. Let's finish this thing. We've got them on the ropes. Knock them out. And they started burning tires in the street and protesting. And yeah. The Minister of Defense resigned in protest, said he wasn't even, I may be putting words in people's mouth. He didn't like how it was done. Let's just say that the ceasefire was called. And so anyway, there may be snap elections in Israel. So he is in danger of being replaced. It's always a crapshoot when a world leader gets replaced, right? What's going to happen after that? Probably if he's replaced, he'll be replaced by a more hardliner. Going out on a limb here, I just had the thought as I was taking this sip of coffee. Do you think that Netanyahu backing off of really just schwacking Hamas and finishing them off is more of a globalist action or more of a nationalist, some would say Zionist action? I think it's globalist, right? Don't want to get rid of Hamas totally. Then we wouldn't have the little pieces to play with. I tell you what, if I was Israel, I would remove Hamas from the face of the earth. That's just me. All right, number 2. Theresa May, Prime Minister of Britain, in danger of being replaced. They don't like, many Britons, how she's handling the Brexit deal. They said, we want the hell out of the EU, and she's half-stepping, basically. She's compromising too much for many Brits, and there's rumblings that there may be another election called, and she may be replaced. The Brits had a referendum and said, we don't want to be part of the EU. Is that globalist or is that nationalist? that decision. It's nationalist, right? We don't want to be part of this globalist type organization. Theresa May is trying to negotiate with the EU for a soft exit, meaning the EU gets a lot of say in how Britain leaves. Is that globalist or is that nationalist? That's globalist, her outlook. I'm all for nationalism. I guess Macron made a speech the other day and denigrated the whole concept of nationalism. I'm an ardent nationalist. Australia for, Australians for Oz, Germans for Germany, Norwegians for Norway, Americans for America, right? On the one hand. On the other hand, I don't think it all matters to a hill of beans. I think those days are gone. I think nationalism, yes, I can have conflicting thoughts. I think nationalism is a vestige of tribalism. Especially in Europe, if you go back, matter of fact, I need to do some research on Slovakia. I haven't been able to do that yet. I have an interest in it. But if you look at like Europe, a lot of European countries started because that's where tribes ended up settling back in the day. But then medieval stuff happens, kingdoms and blah, blah, blah. And then everyone's like, yeah, USA, USA. Or Vive la France, or, whatever, nationalism. I think that's a vestige of tribalism. I think nationalism, such as it is on the way out. Hopefully not to be replaced by globalism. There's a big battle there, though, if you haven't noticed. The Antichrist will rule over a globalist system. But I think the whole thing's going to fall apart. You can't have nationalism when you don't have borders, Norway. Norway is just letting all these non-Norwegians in. They ain't Norwegians. The Norwegian tribe. That's what a instructor of mine, Gabe Suarez, used to say. They ain't Norwegians coming into Norway. Lundistan, it's not very British anymore, is it? And the same thing, we got this caravan coming, right? You either have borders that you protect, and you either have a concept for what your people are, and you support and defend and uphold that concept of your nation, or you don't. And I submit to you that the globalists are winning in the nationalism field. Borders are eroding. They're going away. Business doesn't need borders anymore. You can pick up the phone and call the service desk and you'll be talking to someone in Mumbai, right? You can order stuff from wherever. Borders just don't matter nearly as much as they did. I think the powers that be, like to play us and get us going, go team go, USA, USA, or whatever. What do the Britons do? Oh, that's "Oh Canada." Whatever. I think they like to play us, but I don't think they believe it for a minute. It's going away. What's it going to be replaced by? Tribes. New tribes will form. You can be at the cusp of one of these tribes forming because more people are going to join and join and join, just as there won't be another option. You'll have to link up and join with someone to live. And when you join with them, you will accept their cultures, their ways, their mores. Wouldn't you rather have a head start on that and fix it up? So there's that. Wow, that turned into a little mini rant just talking about May and Netanyahu. All right, now I know you can see the sun. Hold on. Where to go? No, over there. Can you see that? Man, it looks a whole lot brighter when I'm looking at it. All right, I won't bore you with that again. First world problems. My son, when people complain about some things, he goes, yep, that's first world problems. Do you see my woodshed? I had this baby stacked 3 deep. This row right here is the 3rd row. There's 2 rows behind that. I had this stack 3 deep to the top and a couple logs on the bottom in the 4th row in April. And I was like, yes, I have next winter's wood sorted. Which made me feel good, you know, homestead chores, right? And then we had a cold snap in April, and I burned a whole lot of that wood. I burned it for 2 reasons. 1, because we had a cold snap, and 2, after 2 years of using my wood stove, I finally learned how to use it. I know, right? When we bought it, the lady said it'll heat up to 2,000 square foot home. I have significantly smaller than that. And it would really never get the house warm at all, because I was burning 3 logs at a time in it. But what I learned, and those of you who've been here for a while may recall, if you fill that baby with wood, not just 3 logs, but like 7, oh yeah, it blows you out of there. And for the longest time, I thought it would actually work more efficiently, because that's what the instructions said, if you kept the front door closed with the glass thing on it. My wife has convinced me, the wise Sister Kate, sorry, but this is just getting cool enough to drink, and I need coffee. Leaving the door open, a lot more of that heat comes into the room instead of squirting up the chimney. Yep. And so I burned a lot of that wood. Well, then over the summer, I built this thing up to 4 deep. And you will notice this was 4 deep, and I am a third of the way through row number 3, and here it is November 15th. Not looking good for the home team. PJ's gonna have to cut some more wood and split it. But why? Why have I gone through so much wood? It hasn't been that cold, although it's about 20 degrees now. It was 20 when I came out. It's probably up to about 22 now. Here's the first world problems. I said I wouldn't turn you around. We're not looking at the sun. Do you see these panels right here, just the side of them, right? My panel array. Those panels were given to me by a kind-hearted man who just said, PJ, I want to square you away. And then another kind-hearted man said, PJ, I want to hook up your panels. And he came, and so voila, I had power. And then another kind-hearted man, may the Most High bless all 3 of you richly and deeply. The third man said, PJ, I want to buy you a refrigerator, a real refrigerator. And so I worked with my solar guy. That's how I think of you, Brother Tim, in one way. And he said, yep, get this kind of refrigerator and it'll work. Back and forth, bam. We have a full-sized refrigerator. Oh, hallelujah. And it has changed our life. So because of the kind-heartedness of 3 men, great kind-heartedness, our life has changed. And so, you know, we have normal things now in our fridge and in our freezer, because before we just had a little, like almost college size that ran on propane, a Dometic used by the Amish. So that's cool. It was all cooking along just fine. I had icy beverages whenever I wanted them this summer. Hallelujah. And winter came. My kitchen, my whole house is yet undone, right? But my kitchen is on stilts, piers. And the floor of it is, if you're standing outside, the floor of the kitchen is about here, about this high. So air can come up underneath there because I haven't skirted it yet. I'm gonna skirt it, but I use that space under there for storage, so I need to design in my head some, doors. The floor that overhangs this emptiness is not insulated. Why, you may ask? Because I've been worried about mice. And I'm thinking if I put insulation up in there, the mice are just gonna tear it out. I will take your recommendations for how to prevent that. There's a couple ideas that I have, but so it's just a floor. It's like a deck floating above cold air, and the kitchen gets really, really cold. Okay, I know we're going somewhere with this. And so what we have done for the last couple of years is during the winter time, we hang heavy duty plastic curtains between the kitchen And the living room slash dining room slash bedroom slash wood stove. And then we just heat that one space. And when we go into the kitchen, we go through the plastic curtains, and it's like, whoo, it's cold in here. Do what you gotta do and get out. Well, we got a fridge, and we learned something, and I looked it up and confirmed it. Refrigerators do not work well when the ambient temperature is cold. They shut down, but they don't. It's like, well, yeah, sure, he doesn't need to refrigerate. If it's already 38 degrees in the room, it doesn't need to refrigerate to 38. Yeah, but this weird dynamic thing happens where the freezer quits working and the things in the freezer start thawing out. And the refrigerator, I haven't noticed a huge change in the temperature of the food in the fridge, but I do notice this: you don't hear the of the refrigerator running when it's cold in the kitchen. So what have we done? We have removed the plastic curtains, and now we have this huge, the walls and the ceiling are insulated, but the floor is not, uninsulated space that we are now heating with our wood stove. Therefore, we are burning a lot more wood to make that happen. I have not yet put in, we have a Pioneer Made, Pioneer Princess. It used to be called the Pioneer Made. I think they changed the name to the Pioneer Princess. Amish wood cook stove that I have in the kitchen as a countertop. It's not yet installed. I put the beam up under the floor to support the weight of it this summer. And I told my wife, hey, we can change priorities and I can put that stove in now because I have to cut a hole in the roof of the kitchen to do so. And she said, nope, I'm tired of breathing insulation. Let's finish the ceiling and the walls. Yes, ma'am. I'm a little chatty Cathy this morning. One of the things we do in my house, and I've been married for well over 30 years, is, generally speaking, exceptions apply to everything. Inside the house is my wife's domain. Outside the house is my domain. Do we both work in both places? Yes. Do we both have input in both places? Yes. But generally speaking, I let my wife decide how the inside of the house is going to be. Well, she wants it fixed. I think I am not liking this at all. I'm not going to turn the camera around again. I think I can see the chicken house that they're building. It's a huge monstrosity. It's like 500 feet long, and I think I can see part of it through yon trees now that the leaves are coming off. Anyway, she wants the walls put up, insulation covered before we get going. All right. Question for those who know. This is important. Do not weigh in with your opinion if you don't know. If you heard, or if your great Uncle Bob, you think he told you, please don't respond to this. But there are people out there are Vikings out there who know. When I built my house, sticks with OSB on the outside, wrapped in Tyvek, okay, then I insulated it with bats of insulation. And I'm about to cover it, I have covered some of it, with basically it's called Boston siding. It's like shiplap. Do I need to? Because I haven't on the stuff I've done. Should I? Can I put another membrane layer over top of the insulation before I put the inside siding up, the inside walls up? To keep the little microfibers from coming out, because unlike walls that are drywall that you then mud and tape, it's like a serious wall, or siding, 4x8 sheets or whatever that you put up there and glue and screw and cover it. I've got shiplap siding going up. So technically you can get up behind it. I mean, technically, right? The one thing I'm concerned about though is if I put something up, that might set up some kind of bad moisture thing, right? So if you know, please tell me. If you don't know, don't weigh in on this one, gang. I have to sift through it all, you know what I mean? All right, so first world problems, refrigeration causes me to burn more wood. Okay, no big deal. I have 3 dead trees across one of our roads here. that isn't a big problem. I don't drive down that road a whole lot anyway, and so when I walk down it, but I do like to ride my four-wheeler down there. I can't right now. Those are the first 3 trees that are going to go. Going to fire up chainsaw, cut those babies up, and turn them into firewood. All right, so that was those 2. 20 minutes. That's a long video. I tell you what, we're going to save the EDC for another time. I know I promised you, but 20 minutes, it'll take me 4 hours to upload this video. All right, so that's my day. I'll show you my EDC at another time. First world problems and yeah, what the world's doing right now. I hope you found something in there useful. Hey, if you know any friends that are interested that you might think might be interested in this channel, can you invite them over, please? I'd like to see more people come join us. All right, I'll see you out there.